Sometimes the most powerful words are the ones we never expect. Stephen has always been the guy who jokes, who hides his true feelings behind laughter, who never takes things too seriously. But when he looks at Taylor, something changes. As if every joke, every tease, every sarcastic remark was just a mask covering what he really felt all along. And in this moment, he can't hide anymore. The question is, how do you tell someone you love them when they've only ever seen you as the funny best friend? To understand the weight of Stephen's confession, we need to go back to where it all began. Stephen has always been part of the core group in The Summer I Turned Pretty. He's Belly's protective older brother, one who seems to watch the chaos of love triangles unfold between Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah, while he himself stays in the background. For most of the series, Stephen feels like the comic relief, cracking jokes, making fun of awkward situations, and pretending like love is something he doesn't take seriously. But under that exterior, Stephen has always carried something more. Taylor, on the other hand, is Belly's best friend. Bold, stylish, confident, she's the kind of girl who doesn't back down from anything. To Stephen, she's always been both annoying and fascinating. Their relationship has been built on years of playful teasing, witty comebacks, and arguments that end in laughter. To the outside world, it looks like nothing but harmless fun. But deep down, those little moments were laying the foundation for something much stronger. Think about it. Every time Stephen rolled his eyes at Taylor's boldness, every time Taylor called him out for being immature, there was tension. Not the bad kind, but the kind that hides unspoken feelings. The kind that slowly grows until it can no longer be ignored. And now, as this scene builds, Stephen finds himself in a position he never imagined. No longer is he just the guy cracking jokes at the dinner table or teasing Belly's best friend to kill boredom. He's standing in front of Taylor, realizing that every sarcastic line, every playful insult, and every lingering glance was pointing him to this one moment. A moment where he has to be real. A moment where he has to drop the jokes, drop the shield and say what's been inside him all along. Taylor, I love you. But before we reach that moment, it's important to understand how rare this is for Stephen. For someone who's built his whole image around never being vulnerable, to admit love is to admit weakness. And Stephen doesn't like weakness, yet here with Taylor, he realizes that love isn't weakness. It's the bravest thing he could ever say. The night feels different. Maybe it's the quiet after all the noise. Or maybe it's the way the air carries a kind of stillness that makes every word feel heavier than usual. Stephen and Taylor aren't surrounded by crowds, laughter, or the busy chaos of summer. Instead, it's just the two of them, caught in a pause between all the madness of teenage summers and family drama. And in that pause, something real is about to happen. They've been here before, standing too close, trading jokes that hide something neither of them dares to say out loud. But tonight, the jokes feel weaker. Tonight, the tension feels stronger. There's no one else around to break it, no one else to distract them. It's just Stephen, Taylor, and the truth hanging in the air, waiting to be spoken. Imagine Stephen in this moment. Normally, he would throw out a sarcastic comment, he tease Taylor about her outfit, or roll his eyes at something bold she just said. That's his safe zone, his armor. But this time, the words don't come. We're not laughing, and he's not hiding behind that smirk he always wears. Instead, his hands fidget slightly, and his chest feels heavy. His heart is pounding, not from fear of rejection, but from the terrifying thought of finally being seen for who he really is. And Taylor, she notices. She always notices. Taylor has this way of reading people, of knowing when someone is pretending. She can tell when Stephen's usual confidence has cracked. She doesn't say it, but in her eyes you can see the question. What's wrong with you? Why are you different tonight? It's the kind of silence that says everything without a single word spoken. The setting adds to the weight of this moment. Maybe they're outside, away from the glow of the house lights, where the world feels quieter and more intimate. The summer air is warm, but there's a chill under Stephen's skin. The night sky stretches wide above them, the stars scattered. Like secrets, each one daring Stephen to speak his truth. And for once, he's not thinking about what Belly is doing, or what Conrad and Jeremiah are fighting over. He's not thinking about being the funny brother or the guy who never takes things seriously. All he can think about is Taylor. It's important to understand that this isn't a sudden decision. Steven hasn't just woken up and realized he loves Taylor. This is a truth that has been building inside him for years. Every joke, every fight, every smile, they all added up to something he can no longer deny. But until now, he's been afraid. Afraid that if he said it, he'd lose the easy friendship they have. Afraid that if she didn't feel the same way, the teasing, the laughter, the connection, they'd all disappear. Steven, for all his confidence, isn't sure he can live without that. But tonight is different. Tonight, something in him has shifted. Maybe it's the way Taylor looked at him earlier. Maybe it's the way time feels like it's running out, the way summer always does. Whatever the reason, Steven knows he can't keep it inside anymore. He has to say it, even if it changes everything, and so the scene is set. Two people standing on the edge of something bigger than themselves. Steven, the boy who never lets his guard down, and Taylor, the girl who never expects him to. The night is quiet, the air is heavy. All that's left is the truth that's about to break through. This is the moment where playful friendship begins to transform into something deeper, something neither of them can joke away. It's the moment that will change the way they see each other forever. Inside Steven's head, it's chaos. On the outside, he's standing still, his arms crossed in that casual way he always uses to hide his nerves. But on the inside, his thoughts are crashing into each other like waves in a storm. He wants to speak, but he's terrified. He wants to hold back, but he knows if he does, he'll regret it forever. Steven has always been the kind of guy who jokes about everything. If things get serious, he makes them funny. If things get awkward, he finds a way to laugh it off. It's his shield, his way of keeping the world from seeing the parts of him that are soft, uncertain, or scared. But with Taylor, that shield, it feels useless. Every time he looks at her, every time she meets his eyes, it's like she sees through all of it. And that terrifies him more than anything, because what if she sees the truth? What if she realizes that Steven, the guy who's supposed to be funny and untouchable, is actually in love with her? He replays their history in his mind like a movie on fast forward. The teasing, the fights, the moments when Taylor rolled her eyes at him but smiled anyway. The nights they talked longer than they should have. The times he caught himself staring at her and had to quickly look away before anyone noticed. Each memory presses down on him, louder than the one before.
Us.
Everything? What if she laughs? What if she doesn't feel the same way and suddenly the one person who's been his favorite kind of chaos becomes a stranger? That's the risk. And it's a risk Steven has never been brave enough to take. His heart is telling him one thing, say it, tell her, let her know. But his head fights back. Don't ruin this. Don't lose her. Don't change what you already have. It's a war inside him, and he's caught in the middle. He imagines both outcomes. In one, he confesses, and she pulls away, leaving him alone with nothing but regret. In the other, she surprises him, maybe even admits she's felt it too. And their friendship becomes something far more beautiful than either of them expected. Both futures hang in front of him like two doors, and the problem is, he doesn't know which one will open when he speaks. Steven tries to calm himself. He thinks about his role in his family, how he's always the guy who's supposed to be strong, who's supposed to take care of Belly, who's supposed to keep things light when everything else feels heavy. But in this moment, he's not Belly's brother, and he's not the funny guy of the group. He's just Steven, a boy standing in front of the girl he loves, desperate to be understood, and then comes the realization that changes everything. Keeping quiet is also a choice. If he stays silent, if he buries these feelings again, he'll never know what could have been. Silence will keep him safe, but it will also keep him empty. And Steven, for once in his life, doesn't want safety. He wants Taylor. The weight of this truth presses on him. His chest feels tight, his throat feels dry, and still the words won't come. He shifts his feet, looks away, then back at her again. Every second of hesitation feels like a lifetime. Taylor, meanwhile, is watching him with growing curiosity. She's used to Steven being quick with his words, always ready with a comeback. But right now, he's quiet. Too quiet.
Aight.
and that silence is louder than any joke he could make.
Right.
She tilts her head slightly, like she's trying to figure him out. And maybe she already knows. Maybe she's been waiting for this moment too. Stephen takes a deep breath. This is the point where he has to decide. Does he keep hiding, or does he finally step into the truth he's been running from? The battle inside him doesn't stop, but something in him begins to shift. For the first time, fear doesn't feel as strong as love, and that changes everything. Taylor isn't used to seeing Stephen like this. Normally, he's the one who fills the silence with some smart remark, who throws a sarcastic line at her just to see her roll her eyes. That's their rhythm, their language banter, teasing and arguments that never really feel serious. But right now, that rhythm has disappeared. Stephen isn't joking. He isn't smiling. He isn't even speaking. And that makes Taylor curious. At first she thinks it's nothing. Maybe he's tired. Maybe he's distracted. Maybe he's replaying one of his countless family dramas in his head. But then she notices the way he's looking at her. Not with his usual mischief. Not with that sly grin that dares her to keep up with him. His eyes are softer, almost nervous. Like he's searching for the right words but can't quite find them. Taylor tilts her head, a small smile tugging at her lips. She's not sure what's happening, but she knows it's different. With you tonight? She wants to ask, half expecting him to brush it off with a laugh. Because that's Stephen. He never lets anything get too serious. And part of her has always believed that's who he really is. A boy who hides behind jokes because it's easier than being vulnerable. But deep down, Taylor knows there's more to him. She's always suspected that his sarcasm was just a shield. A way to keep people from seeing the side of him he doesn't want to show. And in this moment, that shield is slipping. For the first time, she feels like she's seeing Stephen without the mask. And it's both surprising and strangely familiar. Her first instinct is to tease him. That's what she does best, push his buttons, keep things light, pretend she's not affected by the weight of his stares. Maybe she'd say something like, "Wow, Stephen, did you run out of jokes tonight? Or you're awfully quiet for once? What, cat got your tongue?" Those are the kinds of lines that keep their dynamic intact, safe, predictable. But tonight, she doesn't say them. Because she can tell this isn't the moment for teasing. There's something in Stephen's silence that tells her it matters. Something that makes her heart beat a little faster, even if she doesn't want to admit it. Taylor isn't the type of girl to be easily caught off guard. She's bold, confident, always ready to call people out. But standing here with Stephen, with the weight of his unspoken words pressing between them, she feels a flicker of nervousness. She wonders if maybe, just maybe, there's something she hasn't let herself see before. And then comes the strangest part. A small part of her feels like she's been waiting for this, waiting for Stephen to finally stop hiding behind sarcasm and show her something real. She doesn't know what he's about to say, but she knows it's going to matter. Still, Taylor doesn't let that show. On the surface, she keeps her cool. She leans back slightly, crosses her arms, gives him that look, the one that says she's challenging him to prove himself. It's her way of staying in control, of not letting him see how curious she really is. But inside, she's conflicted. If Stephen says what she thinks he might, everything could change. Their friendship, their dynamic, the way they've always been, could all shift in an instant. And Taylor isn't sure if she's ready for that. She isn't sure if she wants to risk losing the playful bond they've always had. Yet she also knows that if he's brave enough to finally open up, she has to be brave enough to listen. And so, Taylor waits. She doesn't tease him, doesn't push him away. She just lets the silence stretch, her eyes locked on his, waiting for the words she can feel coming in that moment. Before the confession is spoken, Taylor's reaction is a mix of curiosity, nervousness, and something deeper she doesn't want to name. She doesn't laugh. She doesn't roll her eyes. She just waits. And that quiet patience is the greatest gift she could give Stephen, because it tells him, "I'm ready. Say what you need to say." With that, stage is set for Stephen to finally break the silence and reveal the truth. He's been holding back for so long. The silence feels like it stretches forever. The world around them fades to the sound of the waves, the hum of the summer night, Even the soft rustle of the trees, all of it disappears. For Stephen, there's only one thing that exists. Taylor. She's standing there, her arms crossed, her eyes locked on his, waiting. Not impatiently, not with her usual teasing smirk, but with a quiet focus that tells him she knows something is coming. Stephen feels his chest tighten, his throat go dry. His whole life he's been the guy who hides behind words. Talking is easy for him when the subject doesn't matter. Jokes, sarcasm, smart comebacks, those roll off his tongue without a second thought. But when it comes to feelings, when it comes to being real, words suddenly weigh 1,000 pounds. The 3 words he's about to say, they feel heavier than anything he's ever carried. He tries to start small. His voice catches at first, softer than usual, not filled with the usual confidence. Taylor, says her name, almost breaking on his lips. It's a name he's said countless times before, usually followed by some witty remark. But tonight, her name alone feels like a confession. Taylor tilts her head, her eyebrows lifting slightly. She doesn't speak, doesn't interrupt, doesn't save him from the silence. She just waits. And in her silence, Stephen feels both the terror of exposure and the safety of being seen. He takes a deep breath, his hands clenching at his sides. For a second, he almost pulls back. He almost says something meaningless, almost slips back into the version of himself that never risks anything. But then he sees her face, the way her expression softens, the way her eyes are steady, curious, maybe even hopeful, and that gives him courage. So he pushes past the fear. He swallows hard, his voice low but certain now, I think. He pauses, his heart hammering so loudly it drowns out everything else. I think I love you. The words fall into the air, and for a moment, Stephen feels like time has stopped. He can't take them back. He can't cover them up with a joke. Can't pretend he didn't mean them. They're out there now, raw, unpolished, real. His stomach twists with panic. Did he say it wrong? Did he sound stupid? Will she laugh? Every insecurity rushes through him at once, but he forces himself to hold her gaze. If this is the moment where everything changes, he wants to face it head on. Taylor's eyes widen slightly. She doesn't move, doesn't speak. Her lips part, as if she wants to respond, but can't find the words. And that silence, it's unbearable for Stephen. Every second feels like an eternity, feels exposed, like he's standing in the middle of a crowded room with no armor, no mask, nothing to hide behind. But in that unbearable silence, something else happens. Stephen realizes that, for the first time in his life, he's not pretending. He's not performing. He's not joking. He's not playing a part. He's simply being honest. And even if it ends in rejection, even if Taylor turns away, he knows. He's done the bravest thing he could ever do. The confession isn't grand. It isn't shouted from rooftops or decorated with flowery speeches. It's simple, quiet, and a little awkward. But that's what makes it real. That's what makes it powerful. Because love, at its core, isn't about perfect words, it's about truth. And Stephen has finally told his. For a moment, Taylor can't breathe. The words Stephen has just spoken, I think I love you, echo in her head, replaying again and again like a broken record. She's heard 1,000 things, from Stephen before, teasing comments, sarcastic remarks, even sweet moments that he quickly covered with a joke. But never this. Never something so raw, so unfiltered, so real. Her first instinct is disbelief. Did he actually say that? Did Stephen, of all people, just confess love? This is the guy who never lets anything get serious, the guy who hides every real emotion under layers of humor. And now, here he is, standing in front of her with no mask, no joke, no escape. It doesn't feel real. Taylor's lips part, but no words come out. She feels frozen, her body caught between wanting to laugh at the absurdity of it and wanting to cry because of how much it means. Her heart beats faster, her stomach twists, and her mind races in 100 directions at once. For years, she thought she knew Stephen. He was predictable in his unpredictability, a constant stream of wit and sarcasm. But now she realizes she might not have known him at all, Or maybe she did know him, but only the version of him he let everyone else see. What she's looking at now is the truth she wasn't ready for. She studies his face, searching for a clue. Is this another one of his jokes? Is he trying to mess with her? But no, the look in his eyes tells her otherwise. They're steady, vulnerable, almost trembling with fear, but undeniably sincere. Stephen isn't playing a game. He means it. And that realization sends a shiver down her spine. Taylor's emotions swirl together: shock, fear, confusion, and something softer she doesn't want to name. She never imagined this moment, never prepared for it. Stephen was supposed to be Belly's brother, the annoying but lovable guy who always got under her skin. He wasn't supposed to be the one making her heart race. Her mind flashes through their past. Every fight, every playful argument, every time he called her out and she snapped back twice as hard. Suddenly, those moments feel different. Were they just banter, or were they something more? Has he always felt this way, hiding it under sarcasm? While she mistook it for nothing more than rivalry and fun, the silence between them grows heavier. Stephen's words still hang in the air. Fragile and powerful, like glass that could shatter if she doesn't handle it carefully. And Taylor knows that whatever she says next will matter. It could change everything between them. But she's not ready. Not yet. So instead of speaking, she just stares at him, wide-eyed, her body frozen in shock. She doesn't laugh. She doesn't cry. She doesn't move. She just lets the weight of his confession sink in. And for Stephen, that silence is terrifying. He shifts on his feet, his heart pounding harder with each passing second. He wants to take the words back, to cover them with a joke, to erase the vulnerability that now hangs between them. But it's too late. The truth is out. And all he can do is wait. Taylor's shock isn't rejection, but it isn't acceptance either. It's the pause between breaths, the stillness before a storm, the moment when the world feels suspended in midair. She doesn't know how to respond, but she knows one thing for certain. Nothing will ever be the same again. And in that silence, that shock, the tension between them grows stronger than it has ever been. Because sometimes, the hardest part of love isn't saying the words, it's hearing them for the first time. The silence stretches, but it's no longer the stunned, breathless kind. Slowly, something begins to change in Taylor's eyes. First wave of shock passes, leaving behind a softer, quieter expression, one that Stephen has never seen before. It's as if the walls she always keeps up, the playful teasing, the sharp comebacks, the confidence she wears like armor start to crack. Taylor blinks, her chest rising with a shaky breath. At first, she doesn't even realize what's happening. Inside her, her heart is racing, not just from surprise, but from something warmer. Something she doesn't want to admit but can't deny. Stephen's words are still ringing in her ears. I think I love you. Words so simple, yet they carry the weight of everything unspoken between them. For years, she thought Stephen was just the annoying older brother, the one who made fun of her hair, her clothes, her boldness, the one who rolled his eyes whenever she spoke too loudly, but who secretly never missed a word she said. Their connection was built on fire and friction. Taylor had always told herself that was all it was. But now, she stands here with him. She realizes maybe she was wrong. Maybe those arguments weren't just arguments. Maybe those lingering looks meant more than she wanted to believe. Maybe every joke was a disguise for something deeper, and slowly, she feels her own heart shift. She studies his face, the tension in his jaw, the way his shoulders are tight, like he's bracing for her rejection. His eyes are locked on hers, desperate but steady, as if he's silently begging her to understand. He looks nothing like the Stephen she thought she knew, yet somehow everything about him feels familiar. This is Stephen, stripped of every mask, and in that vulnerability, she sees something she's never allowed herself to see before: his love. Taylor's lips curve slightly, not into a laugh, not into a smirk, but into the faintest, most genuine smile. It surprises even her, because she realizes she likes this version of him, the real version, the boy who finally dropped the act. Her emotions twist in unexpected directions. First, she wants to run, to push him away, to hide from the intensity of what's happening. But then another thought rises: what if she's been waiting for this too? What if deep down she's always wanted Stephen to say these words? And that thought changes everything. The air between them feels different now. The tension is no longer just awkward, it's electric, charged with possibility. Taylor doesn't feel like laughing it off anymore. She doesn't feel like throwing a sarcastic line to protect herself. Instead, she feels an ache in her chest, a pull toward him that she can't explain away. It's scary, yes. Because admitting what she's feeling means letting go of control. It means risking the easy friendship they've always had. But it also means stepping into something real, something that could matter more than she ever expected. Taylor takes a slow breath, her gaze softening. She doesn't say anything yet. She's not ready to put her feelings into words. But the shift is clear. She's no longer frozen in shock, no longer guarded by disbelief. She's opening piece by piece to the possibility that Stephen's confession isn't just real, but something she might want to return. And Stephen notices. He feels it in the way her shoulders relax, in the way her eyes don't pull away from his. It gives him hope, a fragile hope, that maybe, just maybe, he didn't make a mistake by saying what he did. The emotional shift is subtle, but it's powerful. Because in this moment, Taylor is no longer just reacting to Stephen's words, she's beginning to feel them. And once she lets that feeling in, nothing will ever be the same again. Taylor doesn't answer right away. The silence stretches again, but it feels different now, warmer, heavier, charged with unspoken meaning. Stephen waits, his heart pounding in his chest like a drum he can't control. Every second feels longer than the last, every breath louder. In the quiet, finally, Taylor parts her lips. Her voice is soft at first, almost hesitant. "Stephen," she begins, but the name catches in her throat. She swallows hard, trying again. "Do you even know what you're saying?" Her question isn't mocking, and that surprises him. It's not the sharp, teasing Taylor he's used to. Instead, it's the real Hertha girl who's scared, who doesn't want to believe something unless she's sure it's true. Stephen takes a step closer. His voice doesn't waver this time. Yeah, I know exactly. What I'm saying I've known for a while. I couldn't keep it in anymore." Taylor looks away, her eyes darting to the ground, as if it might give her the answers she's searching for. Her heart feels heavy and light all at once. She wants to protect herself, to keep her armor on. But something about the way he's looking, at Hertha's steadiness in his voice, the raw honesty in his words makes it impossible to hide. "You drive me crazy," she admits, her voice trembling with vulnerability. "You always have. Half the time I don't know if I want to scream. At you or... She stops herself, biting down on her lip. Stephen leans forward, his breath caught in his chest. "Or what?" he asks gently. Taylor exhales shakily. Her eyes finally meet his again, and in them he sees the fear, the confusion, but also something. Brighter, something hopeful. Or... "Maybe I don't hate the way you make me feel," she whispers. It's not a full confession. It's not yet. But it's more than Stephen ever expected. For Taylor, those words are a crack in the wall she's built so carefully. And once the wall starts to crack, it's only a matter of time before it breaks. Her voice grows stronger, though still uncertain. "You don't just say things like that, Stephen. You don't tell someone you love them unless you mean it. Because if you're joking, if this is just another one of your games..." She shakes her head, her eyes glistening. "I couldn't handle that." The weight of her words hangs in the air. Stephen steps closer, his tone firm but tender. "This isn't a game, Taylor. Not with you. Not ever." And then, for the first time, she allows herself to really feel it, to let his words sink in, not as a possibility, but as a truth. Her chest rises with a shaky breath, and she gives a small, nervous laugh, the kind that comes when emotions are too big to fit inside. "I don't know what to say," admits honestly. Her voice cracks, and that in itself is an act of vulnerability. Because Taylor always knows what to say. She's never without a comeback, never without a shield. But right now, she's stripped bare, standing in front of him with nothing but the truth. Stephen smiles softly, almost in relief. You don't have to say anything. Just don't push me away. Her eyes search his, and for a moment she sees not the boy she argued with every summer, but the man he's becoming, the man brave enough to tell her what he feels. Even if it means risking everything, Taylor's heart aches in the best and worst way. Because she realizes she's standing on the edge of something huge. If she steps forward, there's no going back. Their friendship, their banter, the way things have always been, will all change. But maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe. Change is what she's been waiting for all along. Her lips part, and her voice trembles as she says the words that have been locked inside her for far too long. You scare me, Stephen, because I think I might feel the same way. The confession hangs in the air, fragile and powerful, like glass about to shatter, and in that instant, everything shifts again. The vulnerability she's shown, the truth she's spoken, it breaks the last of the distance between them. For the first time, Stephen isn't the only one laying his heart bare. Taylor has opened hers too, and in doing so, she's changed everything.